everyone, welcome to the posture workout. These are my top stretches and exercises that are designed to give maximum results when trying to improve your posture. It's going to help open your chest and strengthen your upper back, which will help with that forward head posture. It'll bring the neck and head back into alignment. It'll help with forward shoulder posture by opening the chest, and it'll help straighten out a rounded upper back. So let's get started. So for the stretch, you're gonna start off on your back. You're gonna put your feet in tabletop position, and the important thing for this exercise is to keep your knees together. You don't want one knee jutting out in front of the other. Keep them together. Now, if it helps you to keep your knees together, you can actually separate your ankles. That's no problem, but you want to keep your knees together. So all you're doing is you're dropping your knees to one side. Do a quick check. Are they on top of each other? And then you look away from your knees and you drop your arm down toward the ground. With every breath, you're thinking about dropping your shoulder closer to the ground. And take a couple of deep breaths here. And then after you've taken between 6 and 10 deep breaths, you're going to do a thumbs up with your hand, and then start moving your hand diagonally upward, keeping it on the ground as much as you can. And then eventually, when you can't keep it on the ground anymore, you can come up a little bit, but you want to really make sure that you're targeting that pec minor, a big stretch in your chest and armpit, a big deep muscle there that gets really tight from typing and driving and stuff like that. Do a quick check of your knees, make sure they're stacked, drop that opposite shoulder toward the ground, lift that arm up into the diagonal, and breathe. Good. Now we're going to do a chin tuck exercise, which is really going to help with that forward head position. So there's 2 steps to it. Number 1, the first thing you do is just drop your chin down, creating as much length as possible in your neck, letting that base of your skull, that area there, be long and relaxed. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my head back, giving myself a double chin here, and hold that for a few seconds and relax. So I'll show you from the side. Again, I'm just nodding my chin down and then pulling it back and relax. I recommend doing 10 of those. It's going to strengthen the muscles that are going to be required to put your head back into that upright position instead of that forward head position that we all get from looking at our screens. That forward head position comes usually, almost always, with a very tight chest as well. So you want to strengthen the back and open the front. This next one is just a small and subtle movement that's targeting the tiny muscles between the shoulder blades. So all I'm going to do is pull my shoulders back and then slide my shoulder blades down toward my back pockets and relax. Pull them back, slide them down. Now be sure that you're not arching your back as you do it. It's just a subtle movement. Only your shoulder blades are moving. You'll want to do 10 to 20 of these every single day. For this next stretch, we're going to need a broomstick. And depending on your level of flexibility, you might want to use one of these other props. So I am going to use a foam roller because my shoulders are a little bit more flexible. If you're not quite ready for the full foam roller, you can use a half of a foam roller. And if that's too much, you can also use a rolled up towel. Now, if you're really limited in your shoulder mobility, you might not even be able to lie on your back and get your head on the ground. If that's the case, put a pillow under your head, and when we do the actual stretch, you can put some pillows under your arms as well, and then gradually work your way up to doing it just on the ground and then adding in these props. Nice and slowly, there's no rush. Make sure that you're not stretching beyond your ability level and that you're able to breathe and relax when doing these stretches. So I'm gonna start off with my bottom sitting at the edge of the foam roller. Now I'm gonna make sure my legs are nice and wide to stabilize myself, and I'm just going to lean back so that my head is still on the foam roller. Now I'm gonna take a nice wide grip on my broom handle, and all I'm going to do is let it fall back, and I can touch the floor in this position. Keep your elbows nice and straight, and it's giving me a really nice stretch through my underarms, through my chest, and through my arms. You want to hold this one for 6 to 10 very deep breaths. Remember, big, deep, cleansing breaths. And when you exhale, you're thinking about softening those tight muscles and finding the space in the stretch. So the second part of the broomstick routine, you should only do if you have lots of shoulder mobility. Otherwise, you're just gonna work your way up to this one. This one is strengthening the upper back. So all I'm going to do is lie on my stomach, and I'm going to lift the broomstick up. We're going to do 10 reps of this one. So here we go. Shoulders straight, head neutral, and lift. So for this next one, you'll need a weight, and you can do it against a high back chair like I am, or you can do it over the armrest of your couch, or sitting on the ground with your arm on your bed or whatever. So the most important part of this exercise is the way you hold the weight. Most people want to hold a weight like this with their thumb around the weight, but that's not what we're doing. We're going to make sure that your thumb is on the same side as your fingers, and I'm not holding the weight in the middle, I'm holding the weight on the edge. It's longer on the side of my thumb. Now, what you're gonna do once you have your weight is you're gonna put it over your high back chair, and the weight is going to pull your arm into a nice twist. Part of opening up your chest is also opening up your arms. So you just want to breathe in this position here. This is a 2-pound weight. You can do it with a bottle of water, even a stapler on your desk, whatever you have. You just want enough weight that it's going to pull your arm into a nice, gentle twist. This is a really good one. And if you want to get a little bit of an extra stretch, you can turn your head away from that arm. Make sure to breathe when you're doing it, and make sure your arm is directly out to the side. If your arm's kind of more in front of you, that changes the nature of the stretch. You want it directly out to the side, or even a tiny bit behind your midline. For this next one, we're gonna take a broomstick, or you can use a dog leash, or even some old sweatpants. Anything that's gonna give you a nice wide grip. The wider the grip, the easier it's going to be. So if you're just starting off, get some old stretchy sweatpants and hold your arms really wide. Now, the trick about this one is to not arch your back, so keep those lower ribs locked down, you're not boinging them out, and keep your elbows straight. All I'm gonna do is lift the stick up and over, up and over. Now, the tendency when people first start doing this is to really wanna bend those elbows. And if you can't do it without bending your elbows, take a wider grip. You can go as wide as you want. Maybe your arms are almost out to the sides. So you should feel a stretch as you're doing it. You should feel the joints lubricating, but you want to be careful not to go too hard and too intense at first. You don't want to feel any pain or obviously ripping or anything like that. You just want a nice stretch that you can breathe through it as you're doing it. I really like doing this one right when I get out of the shower with the towel, because your body's all nice and warmed up after taking a nice hot shower. I recommend doing 20 of those every day. This next one is one of my very favorites. It's the reach up, reach back. I recommend doing 20 of them every day. And the reason I love it so much is because it's both a stretch and an exercise. So I'm gonna hook my thumbs together and I'm pulling my shoulder blades together and pulling my arms apart. So there's a lot of force pulling my arms apart, but my thumbs are keeping them together. So as I raise my arms, I'm pulling my arms apart, and then finally I unhook my thumbs, put my palms toward each other, and open my arms down. So I'm not just letting them fall down to the side, I'm still pulling my shoulder blades together and as I bring them down. And it's a stretch that I feel throughout my whole arm and even my hand. It's gonna lubricate those joints, it's gonna create flexibility in your chest and strengthen your upper back. If you only have time to do one of the exercises in this routine, make it the reach up, reach back. Now keep in mind that stretches and exercises are only part of improving your posture. You also need to think about your body alignment and you need to think about ergonomics. I have tons of videos about those topics, so be sure to subscribe. Also, a lot of people ask me if it's natural to be sore after doing these stretches and exercises. Now, yes and no. After you do a workout, it is natural to be sore, and we're strengthening muscles in the upper back, and also when you stretch tight muscles, they will be sore. But if you're not quite sure and you think that you're experiencing pain that's beyond that realm, be sure to consult with a doctor, physical therapist, chiropractor, someone who can see you in person.